For the third year and counting, Richard Skipper has been celebrating the artists you love.
And what are some of the things that you've really run out of time? And we've got to talk about your latest. I want to go back a little bit, first of all, and celebrate a true legend.
Richard Skipper is all about celebrating life, art, and his guest body of work.
And did you pursue performing opportunities while you were in high school?
Please join us while he showcases these diverse and talented individuals. Here's Richard Skipper.
Happy Monday, everyone, and welcome to the latest edition of Richard Skipper Celebrates. Who or what are you celebrating tonight? It's National Carousel Day. It's National Wine and Cheese Day. It's National Culinary Day. And for me, it's National Donna Pescow Day. I am so excited that she's here. It's taken us so long to make this interview happen. We've been trying to get this interview on board for quite some time, but she's here tonight, and I'm so thrilled. Donna, welcome to the show, first of all. And as I begin every show, I ask, who or what are you celebrating today?
Oh, I'm celebrating that I figured out how to do all of our technical stuff so I could do this here with you. We're in conversation. So I'm happy about today being Richard Skipper Day.
Well, tonight is all about you. So we're going to start there. I am, first of all, I am so thrilled that you're here. And I begin every show with a surprise. Well, first of all, the word of the day is comfort. And I want to talk about comfort because I picked this day because it has been so hot everywhere. And I want to ask, in both your life and your career, what does comfort mean to you? And has there ever been a moment in your career where you felt, this is it, I'm comfortable?
For me, comfort is being around people who are good and kind of have the same goal in terms of either the work or friendship or connection with one another. So that makes me more comfortable. Doing all of sitting inside in 100-degree weather is not, but I think comfort for me is really who I'm surrounded with.
What a great answer. Now, I start the shows also with a surprise question. It's such a surprise that I haven't even looked at it yet. So God only knows where this is going to lead us. But the question is, would you rather experience the beginning of planet Earth or the end of planet Earth? What an amazing question.
It is. Wow. I think the beginning, because the end would be far too sad. And I think it would be kind of interesting to see, and I'm going to take the optimistic view, see all of the creation happen, all of the beauty start to take shape.
I agree. And may it be a lesson to all of us that we need to really take that into account, especially these days with everything, climate change and everything happening. So that's great. And also, it says, makes sure that someone gets the credit that they deserve. So I'm going to ask you, who are the mentors, the people along the way that you feel tonight that you definitely want to give credit to, who deserve the credit that they deserve for the steps along the way in the life and career of Donna Pescow?
Oh, wow. That's a long list. I've been incredibly lucky and blessed with, my family. They were always very supportive. I think they realized early that I was going to do what I wanted to do, and this was it. So they were really supportive about it, and I think kind of enjoyed all of the goings on that I would go performances at school, and first jobs, and even some of the disappointments. I think they were really great at being supportive all throughout. Lucky because I started working so after I graduated from academic arts, so I had a lot of highs, and I think I didn't quite know how to handle a lot of them, so that was good. I think I had great teachers. Some of the teachers I had at the academy were extraordinary, and they meant Lee Strasberg. I worked with him after I graduated. Again, very, very much always in my head. Friends that, again, just very supportive, very understanding. And I think we all meet people throughout our lives that, you develop kind of a shorthand with them in terms of you don't need to explain every single aspect of everything you're feeling. They get it. And I've been very blessed with people that I feel that way about and felt that way about me. Again, I a long list. Family, friends, teachers, Haagen-Dazs, I put them in there.
Wonderful. I know that you are a Brooklyn girl. What is it about that borough? I live here in New York. I am a transport. I grew up in South Carolina, but there's something about Brooklyn and that has produced so much incredible talent. So what is it about that borough that, it's just like this incredible melting pot of talent?
I think itself, no BS. I don't, you kind of can pick out the reality and pick out the phoniness real quickly. And I think there's an energy to certainly the city, and I think certainly to Brooklyn, that you kind of want to get things done, want to do. And you don't waste a whole lot of time. Once you know what that is, I think you don't waste a whole lot of time going after. And I think in a strange way, it's kind of expected of you. There's not a whole lot of, well, take your time and let's just really go slow. I don't think the word slow is really in the vocabulary of Brooklynites or New Yorkers. And I think Brooklyn is a great training ground for that.
Well,
a lot of strong people, a lot of strong opinions and attitudes.
Absolutely. I asked for a photograph of you at 5 years of age. And here it is. There you are. I love this photograph. I asked for a photograph of you at this age because to me, the 5-year-old self, and I've said this in previous shows, my viewers know this, is the purest self. It's before life begins to tell you who you should be or who you shouldn't be. But when I look at this photograph, you seem to have a strong sense already of who you are. Look at the pose, the way that you're standing. So do you have any recollections of that particular photograph and the circumstances surrounding that photograph?
It's really funny. That bag I'm holding, that little, it almost looks like a piece of luggage. I remember that. I remember putting everything I could possibly there that I either might want to play with or I might think I need. And I would drag that bag around, and I just, I just remember feeling confident with it. And I think, and my mom used to sort of kid around about that bag. I think it was just kind of who I was in a sense. I was very organized, but I also prepared just in case.
Now, you grew up, of course, with such a close proximity to New York City. When did the so-called bug bite you that you wanted to pursue a career? And did you grow up in a household where you were surrounded by the arts? Did your family go to the theater? Did you go to movies? What was that circumstance like for your family?
Well, my grandfather, um, who was like dad to me, my parents were divorced. I think I was about six or seven, and we we lived in Florida for a short time, and we moved back to Brooklyn and lived with my grandparents, my sister and my mom and I. And my grandfather um, worked as a projection at the RKO Albee Theater in downtown Brooklyn. But when it was a house, and it was one of those beautiful grand theaters with the staircases and the chandeliers. I mean, it was just gorgeous. And he was very, very funny. And he would teach me from Bob to Who's on Film and a little bit of Burns and Allen. But he just had this incredible love of performers and being entertained, and also go to theater with him and sit in the booth when I was a kid and watch movies through that little window. And I think it was a no-brainer. I can't think of anything else I wanted to do, and I'm sure it all sort of stemmed from that.
Now, I know that you went to AMDA. Was AMDA always the choice that you wanted to go there, or were there other choices? How did that become the school of choice?
Um, it was the AADA. AMDA, I think, is the musical. This was American Academy of Dramatic Arts, and I after high school or during high school year, I really wanted to go to a school that focused on that and didn't just, have academics with that thrown into it. I really wanted to sort of submerge myself into that. Um, and, I think when you're 18 years old, you're fearless, or you're more fearless. And I thought, oh well, I'm going to go there and I'm going to audition for it, and hopefully I can afford it. And if I get it, maybe they'll pay for it. And so, and I was lucky because, I auditioned for it, and they did pick up of it on a scholarship. So I was very lucky.
So, and at what point did you start auditioning and going out for specific roles?
I worked a little bit, I'd say, throughout. I was part of a musical comedy team that was just god awful. And I don't know why we'd ever get booked anywhere, but occasionally we did. So there was that. And uh, most of the time, they don't like you to work outside of when you, at that time, they didn't like you to work while you were training. But I would, do little things I could kind of keep under the radar. Again, nothing great.
Mhm.
I can't say. But, it's an extraordinary time because, you were working with some of the best teachers, and, learning everything from contemporary to classical to mime to movement. I mean, all dance, obviously. So, you were really diving in head first, all of what you needed to learn, which was great.
And you started you had an agent early on in your career. How did that come about that you got an agent so early on?
The year of the Academy was kind of like a repertory company, and they would invite lots of agents in, and producers and whoever they could get to come to the freshman year, because the senior year really was more of a rep company, I think, and so I think that's how I think I got my first agent that way, and then one of the I don't know whether she was a dean of students or was working with this. He had been working at the school for many, many years, and then decided to be an agent again. So she had asked if I would like to have her represent me. She had gone into an agency that was operated by Lily Veit, who was Conrad Veit's wife, and she was an older woman who was very sort of Sunset Boulevard and very into the world, which was kind of fabulous.
And as she started to send you out for specific roles, did you have a game plan of what you wanted to pursue, or did you completely give it over to her in terms of how she was going to mold you in your career?
I don't think I knew enough or felt that I had the qualifications. Pretty much left it up to her. Where I think it was still in my senior year, and I had gotten my first job. Probably through her, I'm thinking, and touring with Richard Kiley and Barbara Bel Geddes and Sam Bottoms and Scott McKay and Jan Ferrand, this unbelievable cast. And I think I had only been out of school maybe a month before all that started, and I'm pretty sure she put that together for me when that happened. And I don't think I had a real game plan other than trusting people that did, and she had, it seemed like, a very definite way of going about it. And if I can skip a little bit up to Saturday Night Fever, she was my agent when that was going on.
And was that a film that, no, I'm joking.
I'm losing you. I'm sorry. I lost your.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. No, I lost what you were saying. I'm sorry.
No, I was making a joke about Saturday Night Fever. Was that
Richard, we're on.
No, I was. Some of us have heard about.
I will experimental film. I'm sorry, I'm losing your audio.
No, there's a bad connection here. I mean, where it is breaking up a little bit. So I apologize to everyone. But I was just making a joke that it was a little film that a few people may have heard about.
I just maybe, yeah, a couple.
Yeah. Yes.
But the great thing about when I went in for that, I had no clue whatsoever. I thought it was this little part in a. I knew nothing about what that was like to audition either, and Gloria Dolan was her name, and she said, "Oh, this is V. They just want to see you because they know you're from Brooklyn and it's about Brooklyn, and go and meet with a casting director. It's probably not a big thing, but it'll be fun for you. So I went in there, and Shirley Rich was the casting director, who was so fabulous and brilliant. And I had worked on losing my regional accent. They told me if I sounded like I came never work or only work. So they had speech accent. They just drummed it into our heads that you need to lose it. So when I went to audition for Saturday Night, and it was just Rich at this time, she said to me, "Don't Brooklyn," and I said, "Yeah." Don't sound like it. You need to go home and spend time with your family and then come back and sound like you come from Brooklyn, which I did. And it took about 10 seconds with my mother saying, "You want coffee? You want to sit here and have coffee, or you want to talk? Tell me what." And so I was able to go back and accent, but even had only sides, and most of the audition was improvised, and they just were really an authentic kind of groove. And I'm going off on it, but John Allen did originally, so I had about 3 auditions with him, and then they changed directors, and it went away. I had no idea about it. I just assumed I wasn't going to do it. And then John Badham came on board, and they called me back, and I had 3 auditions with him and got the role. But not until I got the role did I realize it was this big part. And this brings us back to Gloria, who I said, "Why didn't you tell me this?" And she said, "Because if I had, you would have been too nervous, and you would." So she was really brilliant. And I was terrified that I had just gotten this huge role. But it worked out.
Well, I want to ask what your experience was the first time that you saw the completed film, when you heard that soundtrack, and because it's such a pivotal part of the 70s and that period in our lives, when you saw that finished product for the first time, I can't even imagine. It must have been like an out-of-body experience for you.
It beautifully stated. That's exactly what it was. I had a feeling this was something unique, and I think everyone knew that if it all came together right, it would be, pretty terrific. But nobody had a clue how huge it would become. And I think even, John Travolta, who was so extraordinary in this movie and deserved every single accolade and every single wonderful thing that was said about him, I think even he didn't expect it to become as enormous. Paramount really, I think, never looked at this film as being important until it started, I think, to test. People started to see it in the screenings or whatever, and then they realized it was something a lot more than they anticipated.
And when did you feel the shift in your career begin to take place? When you felt that, that I am on this trajectory, because everything began to happen for you at that moment?
Oh, it went from leaving pictures and resumes to getting phone calls from people I thought were, these really major people. I thought it was a joke. I thought, "Don't call me and tell me you're Dino De Laurentiis," and just everything changed. And
that's the name of your book right there.
It was just like leaving reality. That scene in The Wizard of the Woods is no, it was just this landslide. I mean, you really can't describe going from hoping you get another job, so you can make rent.
And
This,
did you
which
make, and did you
was
make the decision?
suddenly,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I lost you.
No, I was going to
You said,
ask,
did you make the decision?
did you make the decision to go out west, or was that decision made for you?
Yes to both. At the time, my agent Gloria and Lily Veit, again, she was such a character. They were getting a lot of calls from people that wanted me and have meetings with me, and a lot of very important film people. And they said, maybe go out to California for a little while. And legendary agent Paul Kohner was the reciprocal fight. And so, Lily says, we will send you to Paul. He will take such good care of you. And you will work and you will meet people. It's wonderful. And I'm thinking, I have nothing to wear. I have, so, but, you together and you make it happen.
So when you made the move out, I mean, you arrived
Oh, this is terrible.
but you arrived at a time in television history also when there were all these great television shows. I mean, someone just made a comment on the side that I want to address. I mean, you were making appearances on Fantasy Island and appearances on The Love Boat and all of these other experiences, and you were given a chance to make these appearances on all these other shows as well. What was that experience like for you as an actress at that time, being given all of these great opportunities so early in your career?
Well, it was, again, I think it's very difficult to make it logical for yourself when your life gone from this sort of enormous leave, come to a city you're out, talk to people that you've only heard of. It was overwhelming, always overwhelming. And it was exciting to do all the things you were talking about. At one point, I was under contract for a film. This was shortly after I came out here. And the film went into a rewrite, and then it got delayed and all of this. And I was kind of waiting for this film to begin. And these are kind of, and they were short term to do them, those TV projects. But that's when Garry Marshall came into my life, and he had called and said, I'd like to meet with Donna about a TV series. And at that time they said, well, you're under contract, you really can't talk about a TV series because this film at some point will be made, and you're signed and all of that. And I kind of went crazy. I said, I'm not going to say no to Garry Marshall. This is Garry Marshall, the funniest man in TV, the brilliant producer, writer, director. I mean, okay, well, take, and then we'll see. And a show to you is a series in itself. He was the funniest man in the world, and he this character Angie, neighborhood. You're a girl from the neighborhood. She doesn't understand. She's marrying a rich man. She doesn't know how. Tells her, have a party, give them presents when they leave, a little party favor, and she forgets. And so she hands everybody $5, and she says, "Hey, get yourself something because I forgot to get you something." And I mean, it was so hilarious. And I left that meeting, and I said, what you have to do, thing, I need to do this, and I need to work with this man, which happily they were able to do. And that was just, one of the greatest here to work with Garry and that show. And that opened up, all the doors with all these other fun shows to do. And, TV kind of became my plate more so than film point. And, grateful as all get out for it. I'm having a ball.
When the series came along, were Robert Hayes and Doris Roberts already in place for the show, or did everything come together because of your casting? How did everything come together for that?
We actually did a pilot of Angie that had a different cast, and it was a little bit of a different slant on the show, where it was more about his family, sort of accepting her, and more about that part of the world. It was Phil, the Rittenhouse Square wealthy folks versus South Philly. And the people that were in the pilot were wonderful, but the only two that made it to the actual series was Sharon Spellman, who played my sister-in-law, and myself. Everybody else was cast because they pulled the show, and I didn't have a family that was shown in the pilot. And that's when they brought in Doris and Deborah Lee and they brought Bob Hayes in to play Brad, and it was sort of retooled, and I was beautifully cast. Good, fun.
You mentioned earlier that you had to work with Garry Marshall, and I can understand why. I mean, what a brilliant man he was, and what a legacy that he left for all of us. What are some of the life lessons that you learned from him that helped you both as an artist and as a human?
It's interesting. Garry was always, before he was an icon. And I don't mean that in terms of the amount of time it took. I mean, he was a real person who cared about what was going on, not just in his shows, but in the lives of the people that were working for him. And he was kind, and he never didn't have time for whatever it was that needed to be attended to, whether that was the show or a situation that a person was having, or he was just so minchy, I mean, every single person knows. And at that time, he Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, Mork and Mindy, Angie. I mean, it was just, Paramount was like sitcom college. It was just crazy. All Taxi, I think, it wasn't his show, but it was a lot at the same time. An extraordinary time for comedy, for television comedy. But he always was a very hands-on producer and person. And I think to answer your question, what I learned is that it doesn't matter whether you're a big celebrity or and attend to people the way you would want them to deal with you, and the rest will really believe that to this day.
And Doris Roberts, I want to ask about her as well. She has played so many mothers on so many different sitcoms. What and of course, so many different. Uh, she just is the consummate meddlesome mom, but she is brilliant at what she does. Um, and it must have been like a tennis match working with her.
Well said. It was very much. She really, Doris kept. Uh, and the great thing about working with Doris, when it gelled, it got better and better and better because you would go for broke more. You would feel confident in the person you're working with to that, fall back and forth. She was so smart and so funny and such a natural, that there was a false note in any idea. Therefore, to do the same thing. And what I loved about the relationship of Angie and her mom was, as crazy as it would get, whatever the storyline would be, there was this absolute line of truth.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of went something that I think Doris was so brilliant at. And she did the same thing with Everybody Loves Raymond. No matter how crazy, she always was able to ground it in a way that you felt like, okay, I buy it. It's nuts, but I buy it. And I think that taught me a lot as well. And I kind of try to work that way as well.
And Robert
And
Hayes,
God, she was so funny.
Robert Hayes, who just had a birthday yesterday, or I think it was his birthday was yesterday. I tried to get him on tonight.
Mm-hmm.
He was going to try to be here tonight. Yes. So, and I'm sorry that he wasn't able to make it tonight, but he was going to surprise you. But the chemistry between the two of you was incredible.
Yeah, he's still one of my closest friends. I kid him and say it's like, at this point he's like a brother. Again, there was a total understanding and a chemistry that was there, and how to make it work. And it's interesting because I think friendships develop through when you're working with somebody, because you have this kind of connection as performers, and somehow that opens the door in a weird way to say, I know this person and I want to be friends with this person, and one starts to feed the other. And I think for Bob and I, we had so much fun with, and same goal, I think, to make the characters lovable enough for the audience to want, to have them in their home every week, but also to make them some, identifiable character, that even though they came from two different backgrounds, you bought it. And I think that was so fun. And Bob he's just so damn funny. I had a hard time keeping a straight face many times. And I think they were very patient with me, because they know, oh God, she's going to break up. We just know it. She's going to break up. And I did, because just so funny.
Someone said that he could not be here tonight because he was
And
had to pilot a plane to Boise. One of the funniest
he
films
says
ever
got a plane
made,
to
Airplane. Yes. You mentioned earlier that
airplane.
when
Yeah, no,
Garry
in fact,
Marshall,
he was doing that. He did that when we were doing Angie.
you mentioned earlier
I'm sorry, I
that
lost you,
when,
Richard.
no, can you hear me? Yes, can
I
you hear me
can. Now I
now?
can.
Okay. You mentioned earlier that when
I can.
you got the phone call, that they wanted you to come in and meet with Garry Marshall, that you were also being pulled in another direction because of the film project that was on hold. When you've got these choices to make in a career, you're wondering, am I making the right choice? Are the people that I've got who I'm trusting my career with making the right choices for me? As you look back on everything, are there moments where you feel I did make the right choice on this particular moment, or are there moments where you felt maybe I didn't make the right choice in that area of my career? Are there any regrets?
You know, 60 hours wasting time. You should be thinking of other things with regrets. I think we all get to it where we did something or look for what opened up because maybe it went in that direction. I had so many opportunities and so many things that, start veered direction because of, and I mean this professionally, because of things that, are either owl or, as you say, people that represented me said, well, you should do this and versus that. But I really, I try to have a whole one thing that maybe I still kind of have that little moment with. Neil Simon wanted me to do You Ought to Be in Pictures, and worked on that for a while with him. We did a reading of it, and it was very, very close to my real life. Not because Neil wanted to write about my real life; it just sort of happened to be a funny coincidence. And I couldn't do it because the show Angie was going to go into another season, and we kind of knew, and so it could. And then when I couldn't do it, and that still hurts. Only because now, again, it's not like I couldn't do it and I had no other job. I had a wonderful job, but working with Neil Simon have been, I mean, that's like a lifelong goal to say I had the opportunity to work with this legendary genius. So that, if I have any regrets, but again, a little bit I got to do that play with him, so too regretful.
Wow, that's
Just a little
wonderful. I have two very quick clips that I want to
Yeah.
share. Two people that wanted to be here tonight who just wanted to send positive thoughts your way. One from very early in your career, from a record album that you were working on. So here it is, just a moment.
God.
Hey, Donna, Jeff Gans here. Haven't seen you since 1978 when I played bass on your first demo with Marty Henney in New York. Anywho, Richard gave me the opportunity to pop in and say hi during this excellent celebration of you today. Hope you're doing great. Hope you're staying well. And congratulations on your excellent body of work. Keep on keeping on.
everything froze. I didn't see anything.
I will send it to you later so you can see it again. And I have another one for you as well. I hope this doesn't freeze for you as well.
Oh my God.
Are you there? Again, everyone, I apologize for the connection tonight.
I am, but I'm not.
And I have another clip for you as well. This is from Bruce Kimmel.
I can't.
Hi, Donna.
Bruce.
It's Bruce Kimmel saying hello
Bruce,
to
did
you and
Angie
hope you're
always
having
say
as good a time as I did with Richard Skipper.
That's all he said. I thought he was going to say more, but anyway, that was from Bruce Kimmel.
See it.
I'll get them to you.
I
I'll
didn't
both
get
of
it
them
on
to
this
you.
side.
Well, I'll get them to you. I don't know what
Oh,
the
Bruce, I adore him. And who was the other person? I didn't see the other person.
Jeff Gans.
The
He's
first
a bass
one.
player. He worked on your first a CD that you were working on prior to Saturday Night Fever.
Oh my gosh. See, now this is I have this really terrible technical karma. So I'm hoping this is not me doing something.
Well, everyone's loving seeing you tonight, so this is great. Now I want to ask you. I mean, do you still sing? Do you ever get the opportunity to sing these days?
Oh, the amount of time that I spend saying go back to lessons and get that going again. I'd love to, and I mean to, and I will. I would love to come back to New York and get back on the stage. That would be fabulous. So it's in my to-do list. And
Is there a particular role that you would love to play?
Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, musically, or just you're talking about on stage?
On stage?
Well, I mean, who wouldn't want to do Mama Rose, or who wouldn't want to do anything Sondheim has done? You know, I mean, I probably have a list that every actress who wants to do so has.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, as we do our wine,
a club act in the 80s. Yeah.
Did you ever do a club act?
I've lost you, Richard.
Did you ever do a club act?
I did a club act in the 80s. Do you remember the club Les Mouches? Yes, I did at Les Mouches, if you can remember that.
Oh
club.
my God, I do know Les Mouches. Yes, of course I remember Les Mouches.
Yeah. And Joel Paley and Marvin Laird did my act. So can't do better than that, boy.
No, absolutely. And do you have a recording of that?
I have the worst little someone, I don't even know what was invented then. Something, but I have a recording of it in a box somewhere. I wonder, maybe Joel or Marvin have a better recording of it. I should ask.
Wow. Well, you got to come back to New York. Everyone's salivating here for you to come back to New York. I think you've already got you've got a full house already of people.
I'm ready.
Yes. So I'm going to ask. These are just I've got some random questions that I'm going to ask, and just as we wind down this evening, And at this point in with your career and everything, and this may sound like a woo-woo question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. What do you think your purpose in life is at this point in your life?
Purpose. Wow. Well, I think I'd like to obviously continue in the entertainment world. My purpose, I'd love to become so successful that I could spend time and money on outside of the industry to make the world better. Involved, which I know you don't need to be super. People that are involved in charity work are amazing, and they don't need to have giant careers to that is in many ways back. And making your mark in the world, if you can make people happier because they know you, and put something in the world that makes it better for either a person or a situation.
I agree. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a big range.
And again, this is it may sound like a woo-woo question, but I ask woo-woo questions. Do you practice gratitude? And if so, can you name 3 things
I
that
love
you're
the
grateful
phrase woo-woo. I'm sorry.
Do you practice gratitude? And if so, name 3 things that you're grateful for today.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm grateful for my son and my wonderful husband and my life. I'm grateful for the opportunities I've had, and I'm grateful for what's coming. I don't know what it is, but I'm grateful for it.
That's the best answer right there. When do you feel that you have been the most? This is going to sound like a crazy question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. When do you feel that you've been the most honorable in your career?
Ooh, honorable. Um, I think I've always made an issue out of making people, and I don't want to sound Pollyanna, but making people feel like whatever they do, there's a lot of worth to it and to them. Um, I'm to acknowledge uh, people and what they bring to the table, uh, whether they're performers or neighbors or just acknowledge that everybody has a lot of worth, and so blessed to giving and loving. And for the most part, I have to say, in over 4 decades, there have been very few situations where I don't want to be there every day. And how lucky is that? So I hope I can do that for someone. Just let them know on there they deserve to be appreciated.
And Madonna Cacciatore says that you are family to Robin and her and to the community. So thank you for that.
Oh my God. They are. They are indeed. And Robin are part of my heart.
Yeah, and I think the world of both of them as well. And this will be my last question to you, but don't go anywhere for a moment.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
What is the best ritual of your daily life?
My daily life ritual. Oh my God, Richard, you're so funny. Um, say, you are 5'9". You are 5'9". It's not a good ritual, but it's mine.
What is that again? I didn't hear that.
I said, I stand in front of the mirror trying to convince myself that I'm 5'9". But seriously, to answer your question, what is my ritual?
I love that. That works for me. That perfect. So we're going to give away.
Yes.
I'm going to try that tomorrow. So does it work? That's the question. So I'm going to give
bet your ass
away.
it does.
Oh, good. We're giving away. We're going to give away. I'm giving away a little cabaret package tonight. Kathleen Hassett-Hochberg. Thank you for watching, Kathleen. She's been through a difficult time because she broke her wrist, so she deserves a little gratitude and a winning tonight. So, Kathleen, call me in about an hour and we'll talk. You've got my number. So Kathleen is one of my favorite people on the planet. Don't go anywhere for a moment, Donna. I want to thank everybody for being here tonight.
Feel better.
Donna,
feel better.
Absolutely. Kathleen, feel better. So everyone, thank you for being here tonight. It means the world that you were here. You could have been anywhere else tonight, and you spent it with Donna and myself. And I know that I can speak for Donna when I say this. In this business, we don't take it lightly when you show up. So thank you for being here tonight. After the show, please go back to YouTube, leave a comment on YouTube, share this with your friends, let other people know about this, and just keep spreading it around. It's all about sharing the love. I end every show by telling everyone to go out and do something nice for somebody else without expecting anything in return. Go to your Facebook friends list and reach out to the first name that pops up and reach out with a phone call. Not an email message, not a text message, not a private inbox message, a phone call, and let that person know what they mean to you. As my dear friend, Sean Moniger, always says, we're all in this together, but we're not in the same boat. And I always say, if you're going to go out in a boat, make sure you bring a skipper along. So Donna, I'm going to leave the screen and I'm going to give you the final word. Anything you want to say about anything that we've talked about tonight that you want to build upon, anything that we didn't talk about that you wish we had, or just any final message that you want to give to everyone who's watching. Don't worry about how to end the show. As soon as you say goodbye, the credits will roll. Donna, I am such a fan of yours. I always have been, and I will continue to be. This night means a lot to me. So thank you for being here. And Donna, it's all yours.
Well, Richard, it's so mutual, and I'm so thrilled to have done it. And I'm going to leave with the word gratitude, the word kindness, and humor. Never lose humor. Always find something to talk about.